No. His ego can't
We're
handle
live, guys.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Awesome.
So I am Cathy.Goodall. I am a leadership and growth accelerator, and I am one of the Emerge trio.
Oh, I'm next. Okay. And I'm Naomi, also known as the PR chick, and I am a personal brand coach and a PR consultant.
And then all of a sudden I forget who I am.
And she didn't even give her a full elevator pitch.
I know I couldn't bother to go through all of that today, guys.
I'm Rochelle Cameron, also known as Adrenaline Rush. I'm an attorney at law in the days, and I'm also a speaker and a transformation coach, and I get to be a part of this trio. We're like the group 1/3. If we could see who. Wow.
I think that people probably think that we planned our outfits for tonight, and I think
we didn't, and we're all kind of like almost matching.
Yes. So we do look like new edition from back in the days.
Yeah. but we all wore red lipstick because of the guests that we have tonight. So we needed to show up. We didn't want to be reprimanded. Not in front of people.
No. Awesome.
So I'm very excited about today. We all are. We've been looking forward to this for about 2 weeks now. Because we have
been looking forward to this from we started doing Emerge.
True. Good point. We don't have to tell everybody that, don't we? So how has your week been?
For me personally, very interesting. We actually moved out of our office today.
Into a new one?
Into a different space.
Yes.
Space.
A space that's appropriate for this time.
Yes.
That we're in. So that was interesting. We did that today, but it was nice to see my team. It's the first time that we've all been physically in the same space in 7 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
We've been doing Zoom meetings and we have all these things, but we have not seen each other. And it's it's crazy because we all want to just hug everybody and we can't. So that was interesting today. But yeah, that was my day. It was great to be with my team and to just be around them as we moved all of our stuff out of our office and into a new space.
And Roshi, your week.
I have had a week full of work, and I'm very grateful. Very grateful. And I've had some amazing things happen, like my friend Cathy. Carry a bottle of wine, come give it today.
Woo!
Last week, we get one banana bread. But you know, one of the other things, guys, let me tell you.
What are we getting next week now? Since we seem to be giving up.
What am I cooking next week? Since next week is mine.
I don't have a cooking week.
What am I getting next week?
We need to talk about
next
week.
Next week is a very important week.
Huge occasion next week.
It's a very important week, guys.
What's that week, Nye? Tell us about it.
I'm gonna be 40 next week, Friday. And so it's very exciting. I mean, I was even more excited a couple of months ago because I should be boarding a flight to Italy right now.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm alive and well. So that's
you
okay.
Get to spend it with us now.
And 40 is still keeping.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing some exciting things in the week, but on the day I'm going to be actually having a Build Your Brand Day where I'm going to be speaking with some awesome brand experts from Jamaica and from overseas, London and the US. And we're just sharing with our community some branding tips. And I'm also going to be finally launching my personal brand online course on that day. I'm very excited. I should have done it 2 years ago. So, you know,
nothing before its time.
Nothing before its time. And I'm very excited about it.
So now, nothing before its time. You are turning the big 4-0, which is a great time. You're not old. You're not too old for anything. You're not too young for anything. I think 50 is the same, 60 is the same. nowadays you are as old as you feel. Like, what have you learned in those 40 years? I'm not 40 yet, so I wouldn't know. Happy birthday, Janice.
I'm definitely not 40 yet.
Hi, John. John is going to be John's going to be 25 on Friday.
Yes.
Janice is my Taurus sister, and Garfield is my Taurus brother as well. His birthday is coming up too. So I've learned. So what I've learned, I think, the most during this time and leading up to 40 is clarity. So I've been really getting more clear on who I am, the things that are most important to me, and really trying to appreciate the things that matter. So I'm actually learning more about myself more leading up to 40 than I did throughout the rest of my year. So I'll share some of the things. So one, I've learned to be kinder to myself.
Yes.
So because we tend to judge ourselves a lot. We can be the most critical of ourselves sometimes. So I've learned to be more kind to myself. That my journey is my journey. And we hear stay in your lane, and some people say don't stay in your lane. But for me, I'm just focused on my journey.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. It's okay to ask for help. That I love playing polo, that I just started playing.
Emily.
I have a piece of hair that keeps just sticking out. This is COVID hair. But I love to play polo. Like I couldn't believe that at this age, I finally found a sport that I actually really like, and I'm actually pretty good at it. So I love
horses.
Huh? What about horses?
Riding.
Horses, yes. And speed, and just like I love it.
Yes.
I also have that change can be good.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about some things that I've been doing even just in the past 2 months during this crisis. Things I haven't done before, like all this baking and doing the online course. But I'm also doing things like spending a lot more time with my mother, which I would say that I probably spent more time with her in the last 2 months than I've spent with her in the last 10 years.
Wow.
That's not a great thing, but it's a great thing right now.
Yeah.
Also that I still don't like mathematics. So that's one of the things that I've realized even as I get closer to 40, still not a fan.
I'm right there with you.
That I really love helping people to discover the greatness within themselves. And that's what led to coaching. So I love that. I've also learned that I'm a pretty good baker.
Yes, I'm going to tell you.
I'm enjoying that. And I'm also been really appreciating trusting in God's timing. So, a lot of times we say we trust in God's timing, but when things are not going the way we want it to go, we don't really trust in God's timing anymore. So I'm trying to be more in tune with that and just reminding myself that even the things that are not great, it's still a part of God's timing. So I need to just move through it.
Yeah.
And the last thing is just the importance of gratitude. Just being grateful to be here, to be alive, and being able to share with you guys and this audience that has joined us today. And to have this awesome relationship that all three of us have with Novia, she's here, guys. She's backstage, so we're bringing her on soon. But just grateful for this moment.
Yeah.
So that's my journey to 40.
And before we leave, you're going to tell us exactly how you plan to celebrate the 40 when we're wrapping up.
Oh, okay.
Because that's going to also be breaking news.
Alicia said she's also a Taurian, and her birthday is next Monday. Happy birthday
for you.
Happy birthday when it comes, Alicia.
Yeah.
So we have an extra special guest today, somebody who is very close, very near and dear to all of us in different ways. Some of us call her mother. I think I probably have known her the longest because I have known her from I was a child, prep school. My father, I think, is one of her biggest fans, just as she is his. But she is the Senior Associate Lifestyle and Social Content, the Senior Associate Editor for Lifestyle and Social Content for the Jamaica Observer, where she has been for over 20 years. I read an amazing article about her the other day, and it said she is a celebration of words, wit, and wardrobe. And I thought it was the
I love that.
Of who she is. She is the creator and the inventor and the conceptualizer of the food awards, the Jamaica Observer Table Talk Food Awards. In addition to the food awards, she is responsible for the lead up to the food awards, which helped to cultivate an industry. She cultivated the food industry, the fashion industry,
the design industry.
Exactly. She is responsible for Design Week JA. I mean, you thought that she couldn't come up with anything else.
And Observer Fashions Night Out. Take that out.
And
the Style Observer Award, there's so many things.
Do you know that I already had my dress for the Style Awards? I am highly annoyed that it did not happen.
Well, I had commissioned mine to be made, but alas, it will happen soon.
And so she is a lifestyle connoisseur, and she is the queen of pivoting and staying ready. So please help us to welcome the Novia McDonald-Whyte OD.
Hi, Novia.
Hi, Novia.
Oh, I think I can go to bed now.
Thank you for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Cathy. Obviously, you've not failed us. Thank God. This has been, investment and money your father would agree, well spent. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Coming from you, it means a lot. So, I mean, I don't know. I think I want to just jump right in.
Because your name's Cathy.
So we want you to start.
Because she's allowed to call me mother. one of the children.
One of the children. And she has many, but they're all very special.
Yes. Yes.
Not too sure about many, but yeah. No.
Well, to us it feels like no. Sometimes we're fighting for attention.
Yes, I know. And sometimes I try to ignore you all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. That's one of the words that we forgot, the expressions. It's all good.
It's all good. But it's not too late to add it. So we have an entire segment tonight of Novia-isms, right? Because we were talking about it, the three of us were talking about it the other day, and we actually have our times when we go off on tangents and use them to each other to remind us and to hold each other accountable, because you're like that still small voice, maybe not so small, in the back of all of our heads when it comes to reminding us about excellence, when it comes to reminding us about who we are. And so we definitely thought it was important to share that with all of our viewers tonight. But first, we want to start with you telling us a little bit about your childhood and some of the lessons that you've learned that have shaped who you are today.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, before I go into that, is that there's a chapter dedicated to all of you. So make sure you come. Here's the thing, as I've always said. When you have anybody with Caribbean parents in the UK, you have no choice but to excel.
Yeah.
And you just have to do what's right. You're in a classroom situation, you've got to do well. My sisters and I actually christened our school. So you had no choice. You couldn't fail.
Mm-hmm.
Failure was not an option, and you just have to understand that. So it's always been top of mind that failure is not an option. Truth be told, you beat up yourself sometimes, and your expectations are too high. And I've actually had to learn to temper my expectations, even with some of the many children that I have. You have to kind of bring it down a bit, because you say to yourself, well, not everybody wants to excel. So in my mind, you really cannot be here. It makes no sense. You occupy space and you are into mediocrity. It makes absolutely no sense. And I find it alarming to this day, to this moment in time, that people are just satisfied with just being, ordinary. What is that? Anybody can be ordinary. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to be ordinary. It's harder to get up and get it and get it done. And here's the thing. In your quest for excellence, understand that there are always naysayers around. So you've just got to, as I said, each time get up and get on with it. So as early as I could recall, it was always about getting up, getting on with it, because failure really was not an option.
I would love for you to take us on a journey of your career path and the different transitions that you went through. Because
sure,
people that know you, they know the people that know you know the Jamaica Observer. And so I think people need to understand that you have been through several transitions and you have been ready for every single one of them.
Sometimes not ready, but you see, what you have to remember in life is that everything that you encounter is for a purpose. Every single thing, it comes together at a time when you're kind of shocked that it actually comes together. My very first job was teaching English and French at St. Hugh's High School. That was my very, very first job, career path, as it were. I was very good at it, even if I say so myself. At that, and you know, it's Teachers' Day today, so I really have to remember Miss Thomas, who was the headmistress there, who was a fantastic woman. Nice. It really pains me to have to say to her, after a year, that I was moving on, because all of my students passed CXC. I think we had the first cohort, and they all passed their French, they all passed their English. And I left St. Hugh's to join the National Airline at that time. The shock, I mean, to explain to my parents that I was going to join the National Airline, they didn't understand. You don't serve tea and coffee in the air with an education. That's for people who are uneducated. And of course, when they were able to, however, visit Jamaica for the weekend and show up to, you know, the neighbors that, oh, well, you know, we're just in Jamaica for the weekend. It was a whole different, you know, ball game. All of a sudden, it was worthy of note.
Absolutely, they appreciated it.
Jamaica was a culture shock. As initially, it was a culture shock. I remember my cousin Dulcie, who's a pharmacist, she's in Florida. She said to me at the time, well, you know, in Jamaica they don't really hire black people. I was like, well, what? It was just, you know, I didn't really understand that, because I figure, okay, you know, you have enough of it in the UK, but you keep it moving. It was a bit of a culture shock initially, but you kind of get used to certain things. And what I couldn't really understand, and even towards the end of my tenure at Jamaica, where we went from being permanent to temps, to on part-time contracts, on full-time contracts. It really was like, you know, up and down. And then you have these characters who figure that they can break you. I mean, look at me, you know, kind of thing, you know. But again, they're all lessons as well. They make you stronger. They make you, it toughens you. It makes you aware of certain things. And you meet good people along the way. To this day, I'm delighted to call Sandra Samuels a very, very good friend. You know, she's the managing director now of Total Mail. A very, very good friend. Sonia Pickersgill, Minette Eldemar, good people, Deborah Pinks, good people along the way who are, you know, who are still in touch to this day, and to really ensure that you are able to, you know, survive. And basically that's it. And then of course you meet, you know, good looking gems like Cathy.Goodall, and you know, it's all good. After Air Jamaica, I spent 2 years at the Terra Nova Hotel doing marketing and events and marketing, everything else in one. I was given a mandate to Terra Nova Hotel used to close at 4 o'clock every afternoon on a Friday. So my mandate was to develop products that would generate revenue, so that the hotel would, obviously earn more money and continue going. I always tease my current boss, or the bus steward, and say to him that, well, Oliver Clark always actually teases him, because Oliver Clark actually offered me a job when I was at the Terra Nova. Because he used to come every morning at 6:30. In fact, I used to have to, I had to purge in those days. I had to make sure that I got to the Terra Nova Hotel before him to open the door. You had to open the door, let him in, and obviously had to make sure that his newspaper was always there. And I remember, he wanted, I'm not too sure. Well, it wasn't to be a journalist, obviously. I think he was fascinated by, I guess, the way I was handling events. So I said to him, no, I don't want to work with you. I want you to find me a job, in banking, because banking was, the hot thing in those days. I mean, you had to be a banker, right? So I said to him, no, you go and find me a job in the bank. Anyway, to this day, we have a good relationship. So it's all good. I ended up on the other side. I ended up on the other side of the media landscape, but a respectable relationship, and he's somebody that I really admire. Obviously, I admire my boss some more. After the Terra Nova Hotel, I spent, I think, a year with Norma Shirley at Redbones, the Blues Cafe. I actually opened it with her. And, Warren Motley, who's now back in Barbados. I actually saw him over Christmas. It was nice seeing him again. Redbones on Braemar Avenue, the original address of Redbones, with Evan and everybody. So those are really, really good days. Tables turning, Norma telling people that there was no room in the inn. It was really fun. It was really, really fun. Don't forget, Norma opened the restaurant with no prices on the menu. So there were several people who would have indigestion at the end of the meal when they saw the bill. But, Norma has gone on, but she will always have a special place in my heart. Really, really a fantastic woman. Learned so much. In fact, the very first food awards took place at Redbones, the Blues Cafe, with about 75 people in attendance. Wow. Norma served hors d'oeuvres, and we handed out the awards. In fact, Cathy Owen was the MC that night, if memory serves me correct. Absolutely. And and then after that, I was actually also teaching part-time at University of Technology, enter Naomi and the others. But just to backtrack a little bit, before leaving the Terra Nova Hotel, Tamara Scott, she was Tamara Scott then, she's now Tamara Scott Williams, was the then lifestyle editor at the Jamaica Observer newspaper. So, Louis would take her to drinks at the poolside. I'm telling tales in you, Tamara. Would take her for drinks at the poolside, and they got married. And she said to me a few times, "Oh, you can send something to me on the hotel," because we were doing quite a few things. La Fresca Bar was just opening then, and she said, "Okay, can you send something?" And a few other things I sent to her, and that led to me starting to write at the Jamaica Observer newspaper. Literally just contributing an article, once a week article. I continued with it when I went to to Redbones, and when I was at the University of Technology as well, because I remember using some of my students to do the Fashion Observer and those things. So one thing led to the next. Dr. George Phillip was also somebody who was always encouraged me. And I remember us having lunch at Redbones one day, and he said, Novia, you need to be in the room. And that's when I was a contributing writer, then I became a contributing editor. But I was never ever on staff. I was doing things, but the Food Awards started at Redbones, so it obviously continued. The Observer was at Fagan Avenue then. We're now at Beach Avenue. And then it continued. It continued until 22 years later. We're doing it, and I'm still at the Observer. And happy to be at the Observer. And I've always said, you can always have an idea, but you have to have the platform and people to encourage. But let's not get it twisted. Success has many parents. Failure is an orphan. So when you have a mad idea, you have to have people in the room to understand and to really help you to execute that idea. And there have been several mad ideas. And I have to say, thanks to Jamie Stewart in the room, she was a lot more active at the Observer at that particular juncture. She was able to push certain things through for me. We'll keep that our secret, Jamie. But it was good. It was always good, and she was very instrumental in us getting the nod for page 2, because don't forget that to say we're not in a traditional newsroom to try to explain. We've got to go from one page a week to more pages, and then the next thing you're actually in charge of publications. So you look around at the landscape and you say to yourself, well, with only one page, it's difficult to compete. And at that time, you were competing with the other newspaper. You had Pure Class on a Sunday. You had, the other newspaper during the rest of the week and everything. Red Tabloid. You had one page. The good thing is that we had a colored page. The newspaper goes in full color.
Yes.
So you have to, you have to be creative. You have to invest in yourself, and you have to believe in yourself, because when you have an idea like page 2, I really wanted it to be on page 3, right? Because, there's the New York Post page 6, so obviously it couldn't be on page 6. Yeah. So you really want page 3. You guys are in the field, so you understand the importance of the right-hand bounce.
Yes.
So, but, I had to laugh, because it's like, who says, the right-hand bounce? No. Says Vernon to the left. It's the page 2 there. So thanks to Vernon. It's page 2.
To Vernon.
It ought to be page 3, but chief of staff, look, they're like, you must be joking, right? It's bad enough that you want this foolishness, and you really want the right hand bounce. Try to hug up the page that nobody look at. So you started on a whim. I can tell you, we were at Manor Park. Brian Cummings and myself shooting a Fashion Observer shoot at Lee's, and we got the call to say that you're starting on Monday morning. Please note this is Saturday. So you're like, okay, they definitely want you to fail. We managed. We managed. I remember stopping Mr. Sibley's in Manor Park and taking a picture. We managed to put something together. We got the page started, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Yes.
In terms of the other events that you mentioned, Fashion's Night Out, we really had to lean heavily on Jamie, because you couldn't really explain to Mr. Stewart why people were dressing up. What do you want people to dress up for to go out? And it was just, Roland can tell you, he was at the desk. It really was a very traumatic time. Yeah. It's one of the, it was a big idea, and it was just too big. Sometimes it's too big to fail. This one was big. We were in New York at the guy Samuels had invited me to New York for. I usually go to the shows in New York. This year, I convinced the chairman to give me some more money to take Rolly. So both of us are there, but then Laurie's show was like, we would have been in New York for 2 weeks. I was like, no, there's no way that we'll have enough money to go to New York for 2 weeks. So I need a hotel for 2 weeks. But anyway, it worked out. Long story short, it worked out. And I have to be thankful that we pushed and went, that Laurie was so, determined to have us there, because had I not gone to Laurie's show, I would not have seen Fashion's Night Out, because you would have had to have seen it. The sea of humanity moving towards you on Fifth Avenue, you would have had to have seen it to understand that, okay, this is something that was really fantastic. This is something that could really work in Jamaica. And I called Natalie from Fifth Avenue and Ed Corey, and it was like, okay, we're going to do this. You know, we came back to Jamaica and we did it. Let me tell everybody, we did it illegally. So 24 hours before 24 hours before we pressed play, the security guard said, "Oh, Novia, there are like 3 guys at the front to see you. Yeah, these are like, you know, Rochelle's people. They're flown in from Vogue. You know, men in some, you know, the suits are so sharp you would have cut your finger on the seams, right? You know, they came to lock us down."
Yep.
So, you know, some of the juicy details will be in the books. I'm not going to spill all the beans. Let's just say that we got through, and then the following year we went through the legal channels and
Rebranded.
that was a headache. That was a headache because, you know, I was told to call you know, Vogue at a particular time. I did. You know, when you rehearse what you're going to say to Anna Wintour when she answers the phone. And then, but everything, as I said, everything happens in life for a reason. When the phone rang, it was Grace Covington who answered the phone because she happened to be in the office at that particular juncture. And Grace remembered me because at New York Fashion Week the year before, everybody was pushing to get into one of the shows. And of course, I landed on her toe. So she looked at me and I looked at her and I said, "Oh, Jesus Christ, it's Grace Covington." You know, like, seriously, of all the people. So, you know, that look, you know, that evil look. The good thing is that our eyes connected. So when I spoke to her on the phone, she was like, "Yeah, I remember you, the black Brit, you stood on my toe." And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's me." Yeah, but it was good. It was the perfect icebreaker, and she was brilliant because she literally walked us through it. She handed me over to Megan Salt. I never ever did speak to Miss Wintour. She handed me over to Miss Megan Salt, and who walked us through the whole process, which was really, 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 really hard. And then just when you figure that, okay, fine, you're almost there, there's another, you know, hoop for you to go through. And then when you figure that it's almost there, then you get the email as to how much mortgage money you needed to actually finalize. But, you know, long story short, I think everybody remembers where they were when Veterans Night Out took place. So, you know, it's good. And we were obviously interviewed on ABC, CBS. Everybody interviewed us because we're not a Vogue HQ. You know, we were Jamaican. We were the only Caribbean island that was part of Fashion's Night Out, you know, licensed to do it. So, you know, really, it was excellent. I mean, it really was what the economy needed. It took our retailers some convincing, really, to get them to really slash the prices. Because, you know, it's not 10%. You know, we were not really used to big sales. The sales were like deep sales. I had to actually, and this is where you call in favors. You know, Michelle Hussey at You're Aware, I actually asked her to discount one of her items, and she put it out there. I think it was a 75% discount, which really sent the signal to the market that, listen, this is the kind of discount that we're talking about. Not 10%, not 50%, but, you know, deep discounts. So we continued. It stopped in New York, but we continued in Jamaica as Take Style Out. And we've had design week, we've had style awards, all things, but we've been fortunate. We've been fortunate. It takes a team, and it takes a team, and it has always taken a team. We're a good team. I mean, I'm mad, she's sane, so we get things done.
Yeah, you know, NMW, as you
somebody wants to know what inspired her to take that role into the hardship. No, listen, it wasn't hardship. It was fun. I mean, it had its moments, but it was fun. You know, everything in life, you take the rough, you take the smooth. It was fun.
Yeah.
High moments, down, everything in life. Nothing is easy. There's no such thing as you can't have your cake and eat it. There's no such thing as having your cake and eating it, and there's no such thing as an easy out. You know, people are calling on a Sunday. Oh, you're at work, no, but yeah, because the newspaper comes out on a Monday. Even in terms of COVID, you know, we're essential workers. You've got to keep it moving. You know, after the food goes, you come straight back to the Observer. You've got pictures to caption. You've got text to put because of, you know, the supplement has to come out on Sunday.
Right, you're at the office right now.
Yeah,
I'm at work right now. Yeah, we had a situation today. Unfortunately, one of our senior project editors has moved on. So yeah, I'm at work, and even usually, I mean, being at work at 8:36 is good. You're on a third shift. If you're lucky, you get out at 10 o'clock. But with everything that you do, you have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I actually like what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. If I wake up and I'm no longer passionate, then you stay home. I'm a hard taskmaster. I mean, everybody knows that, because you can't. You can't. You really don't have the luxury of insulting your readers by not giving it all your all. It's an insult. It's an insult to sit in the position that I have. I'm very fortunate to sit in the position that I have. If I drop dead tomorrow morning, I'm sure lots of people will be running to take it up. But it's not easy. It's not an easy job. And the thing about the newspaper business is this: today's news is used to wrap tomorrow's fish and chips. It's as simple as that. So every single day you start from scratch and you build. Every single day, and you're as good as your last story. You go to somebody's house, their roof is leaking, and you look down, it's the article that you have combed through, you've edited, and it's capped in the water, or it's in a bird cage. It is what it is. But you have to take the rough with the smooth, with everything, and you have to consider yourself very fortunate to be able to do what I do. I'm very fortunate. I've been very fortunate to being in the classroom to teach. When I look at the success of Naomi, Shani, lots of other students, some of them were really bad students. I shut them out of the class. But the good thing is that when you are in London and you're at Dorchester and you don't recognize a person, because don't forget, you have a class, and the person comes out and like, oh, you say, oh, you're one of the waste, they don't exert themselves, but they understand later on in life that, missed opportunity. And that's another thing, missed opportunity. I've never, ever, ever had to say, well, it was a missed opportunity. But all my students, each and every one of them, have done well, and that makes me proud. That makes me proud. The people, whether they're at my desk, whether they moved on, this is an MBA class. This is a master class for free.
Yeah.
So good.
I have an interesting question here. Somebody just asked, why are none of us speaking? And
sorry.
and I want to actually answer because I think it's an important question. So what happens for us is that you do recognize when you do have an opportunity to speak with somebody who has done a lot of stuff. And when you get that up, you treat it almost like a master class. So while you're talking, they're right too. I mean,
let me pause then. Catherine did ask me about it. Go ahead. Let me pause.
No. So that's important for Rochelle to say that. It's true. Because I think for the last few weeks, we've had multiple people on at different times. So we'd have like 3 different people and then someone from NCB Cap Markets. This is the first session that we're doing as an emerging conversation with just one individual. And that's important for us on our platform because we want to share these stories. I don't think from my recollection that I've ever seen Novia, well, definitely not on a live stream, just talk very candidly about her journey.
Yeah.
So many people are curious about you, Novia, about, you know, how did you become NMW? You know, as you spoke about what you've done at the Observer and the journey leading to that point. You didn't just arrive.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
But one of
And in
the
fact, just on that point, Nai, when you said that you didn't just arrive, because as you were talking, there are a couple of, you didn't just arrive is one of your Novia-isms.
Yes.
It's all good. We always have to show up.
Yeah.
Because as you were speaking, and for our audience, we also want you to be a part of our own journey, because when we bring persons on, we're also part of the learning. We're learning too. And as we're going through today, we're talking about staying ready, and we have Novia McDonald-Whyte for those who are just joining us. I see Peter Shakir on. He says, great job. One day at a time, Jamaica will shine again. And he also said, be at the right place at the right time, because that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So we are also getting viewership from a wide range of persons, and these nuggets that you've dropped. And for those people who don't know all of the nuggets, one of them that was mentioned earlier, excellence is in
the detail. It haunts us in our sleep.
That's why we all showed up today like this. Like, we all got dressed up.
And presenting.
Come early enough. We said it. This was not a plan. We didn't plan to match, and all of us came in red lipstick because we knew we had to show up.
And in fact, you mentioned all of your children earlier, and one of the things that you have been a big proponent of is sending the elevator
back down.
And as each of us have moved in our own journeys, that's one thing you keep reminding us, sending the elevator down, because as Janice puts there, that's what leads to Black excellence.
Which is another Novia-ism.
Which is another no. Can you talk to us a little bit about this sending the elevator back down, and how important that is as we develop the next generation?
Okay, two things. When it's easy to go to bed and wake up and become without putting in the work. I'm sorry, you can't just wake up and become. You've got to put the work in. If you put the work in, meaning you show up, you understand the excellence is in the detail, it's only obvious then that you have to send the elevator back down to show others how. It disappoints me no end to have people, that you sit back and you hear them. Oh, well, I've been here by myself for 30 years. I've been here by myself for 20 years. Well, you failed. You failed the community. You failed us. You failed all of us. Because you see, unless you have somebody sending the elevator back down, how on earth are you going to know how much to negotiate when they're asking for a bloody pay increase? How much do you know what you're worth? How do you know how to act when you're there? You need somebody there to help you. So, and I say it all the time, we keep buying into this nonsense. You hear women saying it, oh my God, give me 10 men any day over one woman. Don't be bloody stupid. Don't be stupid. Don't be simple. Do not be simple. We have allowed the men to socialize us into such crap. We have it here. I mean, the boys' club will always reign supreme because there's always one idiot who's going to sit in the room and feel proud that they're the only one there. And then, they're going to say to us, oh yeah, pass the coffee, make the coffee. If I want to make the coffee, it's because I want to. And because the attendant's not there. But it can't be that you're in the room to make the coffee. So we have to show up. Showing up means being ready. Being ready. You don't, sometimes you can wing it and get away with it, but oftentimes no.
Yeah.
Don't talk about things that you don't understand. When you are talking about, people love to talk about luxury, for example. And then when they talk, within 10 seconds, you're like, they don't even know what they're talking about. They have no idea what they're talking about. Invest in your.
Wait just chimed in and she says, love sending the elevator back down. Bloody hell.
Yeah, you've got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You can't expect others to invest in you. You've got to invest in yourself. If you want to know what it's like, even if you're in that, $100, I say to people, right? Go into the restaurant, enter the room, smell, look around, sit down in the chair. And then, even when the waiter says to you, or the waitress says to you, the maitre d' will say, oh, well, it doesn't really matter what you order in any case. It's 25 bloody pounds to sit down. Sit down. Mm-hmm. Sit down in any case. Sit down. Let them pour you water, then change your mind. Right? So that you get a feel. And then you see, you can share that conversation with somebody else.
Yes.
There's no textbook. There's no textbook that shows you how to arrive in a room. There's no textbook that shows you how to exist in the corporate world. There's no textbook that will say to you that when you are being fitted for a suit, if you're a male, when you're being fitted for a suit, and the tailor looks at you and says, "Good afternoon, sir," and he's measuring you. What size did you hang, sir? The man is not looking at you. The man wants to know how your suit must sit properly on you. There's no bulge. So that's why he's asking you that question. When a woman buys a suit and there's the tack at the back of the skirt, you have to know that you don't wear the skirt with a tack. Somebody has to say that to you. The skirt has a tack on it, you remove it. The jacket has a tack on it, you remove it. You don't go out with it. Somebody has to say that to you.
Yeah.
These are the nuances, right? It's in the detail. It's in the detail. Yeah. Every plate of food cannot be an excellent plate of food, because what's going to happen when you actually enjoy an excellent plate of food? It can't be. Yeah. One of the most amazing experiences that I've had around the table was with Christina Simonich and Bon Strolly. That's right.
Alexa.
They had risotto on the menu the night. I think you were there, Rochelle, if my memory serves me.
I was there too.
I was there. And I looked at the menu, I counted the people around the room, and I said, oh, this is gonna be a biggie. Because I'm like, you're going to make risotto for 30-something people? About 30 people, Naomi?
Yeah, it was about 30. Yeah, between 30 and about 35. Yeah. 30, 40. Yeah.
Put it this way, it wasn't a dinner. It wasn't an intimate dinner. It was a large of
a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Not even master chefs could pull that off. I wasn't in Milan.
Well, this was at
I was in Jamaica.
No, this was this joint thing, and it was really nice. It was an Italian experience, that one.
What was fantastic, and why those girls to this day are successful, right? Of course, it came out wrong. There's no way that, experience is what teaches you wisdom.
Yeah.
Experience. It's experience. And I knew that they would be able to put it off. But to this day, I applaud them, because Christina came out and she said, sorry, I got it wrong. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I've been to many a dinner party, but you start to breathe that rarefied air, and they can't humble themselves to say, listen, the food tastes like bloody crap. Right? The rest of the courses were fantastic, but that one, the biggie.
Yeah.
The big failed.
Yeah.
Right? I've had risotto from them again, and it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. You see, again, it's in the detail. Don't follow people and tell people, oh, you can cook. Everybody can cook. Not because you can cook means that you can manage a restaurant.
Yeah.
Not because you can put on a nice outfit means you are a stylist. No. Not because you have gone to 10 weddings mean that you are an event planner. No. It's a science. It's
a sip of water.
It's an absolute science. And yes, Julian Ferguson, exposure is key. It's key. You've got to start at the bottom. right? I can wash plates, I can clean a bathroom, I can make a bed, right? I will never starve. I can wait a table. I will never starve, right? But I hope not. But
Remember, you have all the children. You have all the children. You won't starve.
exposure. Well, you know, having him. I didn't want to say it, Naomi, but you know, do repeat it. But you see,
We are well aware.
you've got to. You see, you know, sending the elevator back down is not just sharing the view; it's preparing others. Prepare others for the day, because the day is going to come when you're there and you're like, oh my God, whether it's too, when you know, whether you're sitting in a room and it's the silverware is overwhelming, or whether, you know, you're at an interview, you know, the day is going to come. The day is going to come. You know, if they invite you out on a yacht, the day is going to come. I ain't going to go because black hair matters, right? So I ain't going to go.
Another Novia intake, which we wrote down.
Right, you know, it's called, even when you're going on vacation, you don't go away too long because, you know, hello, right? But you know, there is so much. So you don't just arrive. You can't go to bed and wake up as anything that you want to be. I mean, you know, I know people are into this whole thing, and you know, you guys will do these sessions and encourage people. Of course, you have to encourage, but you never forget to tell people that they've got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You know, it's you've got to put in the work. And the good thing about COVID is that for those of us who are not born with a chip in them head, I wasn't born with no chip in my head, so I don't understand these things. I get these phones, I call one of the other children to come and set it up, right? They'll say to me, Auntie Novia, you have to admit some of these people. My account is private. If you want to, the observer's account is public. Matthew's account is public. My account is private. You have to have some sanity in your life. I don't need more than 100 likes. It's quite fine. Why do I need more? You know, you've got to show people how. You've got to. Everybody's here for a purpose. You've got to teach people so that we understand. You know, when I say black excellence, that don't mean that, you know, there's no such thing as white excellence or green excellence or purple excellence. But you know, we understand what it means. We've got to get with it. We've got to get cracking. We've got to understand that you don't just wake up and belong. But again, when I say that you create your own space, you create your own space. Yeah. You're proud. You get accused of being up and arrogant, and look at her, she thinks she just all of those things. I own it. I own my space. I occupy my space. This is me. Unapologetic. This is me.
You know what I wanted to say, to touch on Novia for a minute, is the fact that we spoke about sending the elevator back down, and we spoke about the importance of having a platform to even do these things. And one of the things I've noticed with you over the years, and I've even had my own experience with that, is that you have this eye for not only seeing greatness in individuals, but also providing them with that platform through the Jamaica Observer to really showcase their talents to the rest of the world. And you continue to do that along their journey. That's why you have so many, or not so many, that's why you have children, additional children. It's because you really nurture them in that role once you've also given them that kind of exposure. So I'd love you to share a little bit about that, because there are so many individuals, from whether it's a stylist, a fashionista, a chef, a cook, a PR chick. There's so many people that have benefited from your experience, your guidance, and then this platform through the Jamaica Observer. So I'd love if you could share a little bit about that.
Sure. I occupy the seat that I occupy to do just that. I don't have to like you. That's the most important thing. People say, I don't have to like you to spot. And, you know, sometimes you must remember that what is talent? What is talent? It's an abstract. It's not, you know, I remember oftentimes Saturday before COVID at the supermarket is my quiet time at the supermarket. That's my me time, where I walk the shelves, walk the aisles, look at the shelves, depending on the mood that I'm in, I'll pop over to the Spanish Court Hotel afterwards, sit down by myself, have a meal, have a drink, and just reflect. Sometimes you're at the supermarket and you see people looking. They're looking for various reasons. And then through the corner of your eye, you know that somebody really wants to ask you a question. You can do two things. You can pretend that you were never, ever once in that position where you needed help and keep it moving. Or you can stop and listen to what the person is saying. Sometimes it works out for them and for you. Sometimes you have to be brutally frank and say, no, it's not going to work. But then even if you know it's not going to work, doesn't mean that you don't allow the person the spotlight. Some people get the spotlight and mess it up. They really do. And you sit back and you say, And then when you can't take it anymore, you pick up the phone and you tell them a long string of bad words. Straighten up and fly right. Okay? Because if you're given the opportunity to shine, don't mess it up. Because others are looking. Others are looking to be inspired by your story. So, yes, Naomi, and you're here. That's why we're all here. Each one, bring 2, bring 3, bring 4. Because when all of this is over, you've got to be able to say yes. And you don't do it because you necessarily want somebody to say, well, thank you very much, that kind of thing. Because oftentimes people don't say thank you, but that's okay too. That's okay. But, you know, after a while, you can actually spot talent, even when the person doesn't understand that they have the talent, because sometimes you don't understand that you have the talent either. It's somebody has to say to you, you know, you have the talent. You know, come forward and do it. Pat Ramsey is one of the individuals who encouraged me in the early days when I myself didn't even feel that I had a talent, right? Dr. George Phillip too. Butch Stewart, definitely, right? You need people to say that you've got the talent, you know, go through, you can make it, because you're brave, because as I said, you know, thank you for talking about all the things that I've done, but let's not get it twisted. You can't sleep at night because it could fail. With the first Ashes night out, I sent Garfield to the plaza to take a look because my bags were packed. Because don't forget, you know, Failure is an orphan, right? You know, my boss has put up the mortgage, the money for the license. So I'm like, okay, this is it now, Novia. If it fails, you know, don't even look back. Don't even bother to look back. Keep it moving. So I said to Garfield, okay, go and look and see. Right? He said, okay, fine, I see people. And I'm like, yeah, okay, more. What do you see? 1, 2, 3. And the man, it fell off. And I'm like, you live to fight another day. That's what it's about. Because again, don't forget, you're as good as your last edit. You're as good as your last story. Mm-hmm. And it is important because so many people don't help others, Naomi. We have to help others. Even when they don't know that they need the help. We have to help others. You see somebody, you know, at the Terra Nova Hotel, they used to have some of these executive dinner meetings, and Richie Samuels always used to help some of the executives, those that would take telling, he would help, because, you know, they're not inviting you to have dinner with them because they think you're hungry. They're inviting you to know your social skills, your soft skills, right? Take the handbag off the goddamn table, right? You just stole our managing director's role. He ain't going to get the job. He's just allowing you to finish to get the dessert course to get rid of you, right? So But you have to be humble enough to say, okay, I really don't know how this works. So let me, kind of just be honest and say I don't know. Or allow Samuels, he's been doing it for years, just follow his eyes. Just watch him. He will guide you. He'll take you through. Again, you have to know your work. I've been on the wrong end of the negotiation sticks. I know. So I will say to somebody, go and get a ballpark, find out, value yourself. Yeah, I mean, some people say, well, Novia, why didn't you step out on your own and do? I'm okay with being an entrepreneur. I've done it. And I want others to do it too. And I want others to feel that they can make it, but understand that I have been, I guess, fortunate. People think that I haven't failed, but I failed. Not necessarily publicly, but I failed. Right? But it is what it is. Does that answer your question, Naomi?
Yes, very much so. Thank you.
And
let me ask one more question about that.
Another thing as well. Don't get too big that you can't answer your own phone. Just, don't screen calls. I don't screen calls. I have a phone at my desk. Don't ever say to people, if you want to get me mad and I'm already mad because I take a Prozac one a day, don't screen calls. Because the minute you start screening the calls, you start to breathe that rarefied air, you see. You lose the plot. Don't screen it. Don't screen. Keep it real.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I just wanted to add to my question was, what is it that what do you look for?
Well, there's that certain je ne sais quoi. I mean, you can't always pinpoint it, but you can kind of sense. It's a sixth sense, and I always follow my gut with that. If I have a feeling, usually it works out.
Okay.
Sometimes by the time you write the first paragraph and give it, that it was a mistake, but it usually works out.
Okay. I think it's very important to understand that people see the opportunities that many of us have benefited from through the Jamaica Observer in particular. And they think that it's because we know Novia, and they don't understand that we are held accountable at a much higher level than most people. Because the level of excellence that is required of us is people don't understand the level of accountability that comes with it. Right? Because at the end of the day, her loyalty is to the desk that she represents, and the level of excellence that she sets the tone for the desk that she represents has to be upheld. And so if we don't fall in line, then that opportunity no longer exists. Right? And she's never afraid to raise us up in public. I will never forget the day.
Public and private, a lot in private.
A lot in private, for sure. I will never forget the day. It was our girlfriend's 50th birthday party. And so this is a private social gathering. And I walked into the event and my head was held down. I don't know if I was on my phone or what, but I realized that it's a natural habit. I walked in with my head down, and she was the first person to walk up to me and say, no. Turn around and go back outside. Never, ever you walk into a space with your head held down. And she said, lift yourself up, put your shoulders back, and walk into the room. And never again have I made the mistake of walking into a room with my head held down.
Well, can I give you a little example, which is why I actually have an entire chapter in my workbook about this. I went to an event, black tie, which I thought it was, and I kind of knew in the back of my head it wasn't black tie, but I saw some other dresses online that it passed. So I wore this dress to the event. I tell the story all the time when I have these workshops. And of course, page 2 there. I'm a sponsor, Garrett Communications. We took our lovely pictures by the step and repeat. And the next morning, I got a call from Novia to say that she cannot believe that my company sponsored this event and I showed up not in black tie. So the next day when page 2 did come out, my picture was there, but Novia cropped the picture so that you could not see that the dress stopped mid or at my ankle and not all the way to the floor, so that the rest of the world, unless you went to the event, did not know that I was not dressed in black tie. So sometimes you actually don't know what you don't know. And so in my workbook, there's an entire chapter on dress codes and what it means for each one, because I felt so shame.
Listen, I just want to know, when is the etiquette class being held? Because we have another group chat with our marketing group. There are about 12 of us, all in PR and marketing. And I said to them the other day, I need an etiquette class. And everybody responded, call Novia. And I was like, she's going to run me. So we need to know, when are we scheduling the etiquette class for?
Catherine, whenever you're ready, you have full access to me.
You all heard that, folks?
Full access.
Have that on record.
Right. It's important because you guys
etiquette essentials.
The PR practitioner today, the event person, the PR practitioner, so it's harder. It's as easier. I mean, it appears easier, but it actually is harder. You sit back and you watch the so-called slick PR that's going on. When there's crisis management, people run and hide. It's not straightforward. It's not cut and dry. A lot more experience is needed, and a lot more exposure is also needed, so that the credibility remains. Because everybody's not a handler. A handler is not a PR person. Not everybody's an influencer. Thank you, Sugar Lifestyle. Same way. So, it doesn't work like that. You have to, if you're, again, people think that they're handling somebody and they are in the photos all the time. No, the best handlers are the ones that you don't know. They're so behind the scenes, and they're the power behind the throne. You really don't know. There are several people that I have taught to enter a room, Catherine. You never ever apologize for your presence. To exit a room, to handle situations, to go to a mic and to hold your own at the microphone, to exit the stage. All of those things. That's the real power, when you're so behind that nobody knows who you are, the invisible hand, as it were.
Yeah.
So it's important. It's also important that if you are planning an event and you don't know, it's like people send me an invitation, casually elegant. There's no such dress code as casually elegant. So don't send it to me, because I ain't coming. You ain't going to see me there. I will turn up. You'd be surprised where I turn up. But don't send me those invitations, because I ain't coming. It's as simple as that. And don't tell me that you're inviting me to an exclusive event in the hot sun. I'm black. You don't go to exclusive events in the hot sun because you'll sweat. That was simple. It doesn't work. So again, and you have to understand the person. If you're sending me something to grin and bear, I mean, I'm not, Anyway, yes, sorry.
I don't know. One of my favorite Novia is but for the grace of God, there goes I. And it's one that you use all the time as a reminder for all of us. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's always humbling when we remember, but for the grace of God, there goes I.
When you see people, Rashi, who they're not able to, they didn't have the advantage of a sound education. They didn't have the advantage of exposure. They didn't have the advantage of being able to do. It is but for the grace of God, we're all one generation from the Kingfield. It is but for the grace of God. That's all. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. Because when the spotlight is on you,
remember.
When the spotlight is on you, ensure that you use it. Absorb the light. I saw this brilliant post the other day. I saw it and then somebody sent it to me, another person sent it to me. Move towards the light. Absorb the light. Be the light. Be the light.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So
to repeat that Novia is him. But
it
for
is
the grace of God there goes I. Novia, somebody just asked to repeat it. It's but for the grace of God, Kim. But for the grace of God, there goes I.
And he talked about shining light.
And don't forget, each day is a blessing. You have to show gratitude. You must show gratitude because again, but for the grace of God, go on.
Yeah.
So we just want to highlight that light that you're talking about shining. Nikki said that you took her to dine at Lillian's at UTech one day when she was a student, and she said the very next year she started her business, New Greenhouse, which is amazing.
And
that's fine.
So from a young man.
I'm kind of trade up
But Kristen, from a young man.
But that's coming from us.
What kind of?
No. But before that, this is a continuation. He said, "I will confess, I don't know much, nor am I in the circle of communication or mentorship to have exposure to Miss Novia, as does Cathy and Naomi. So my question is, what kind of training or focus do you provide or give to males?"
To be honest, I don't have the time that I used to, but one of these days I'll start again. But I really don't right now. My training is at the end of the year when we have the Applaud It initiative, and I work with the next generation coming up, the young ones. We do, we do social and dining etiquette with them, because they are the ones most in need of it right now. But the book is coming.
And I think it's important to understand the multiplication effect. Crazy Mugs, she pours into so many people for us to turn around and pour into everybody else. Because the reality is, unfortunately, everybody can't have access to her. It's just that we barely have access to her. We scheduled this 3 weeks ago. Her to come with us tonight. Right? So understand that the reason that she pours into so many of us is so that we can pour out to the people that she can't physically.
Absolutely.
And I think also because we have been in her space for years and years and years and years. Catherine from prep school, me from university. So I don't even know how long for Rochelle, but we've been all coming a long way. Because Rochelle is very young, so I'm just not sure. And I don't want to expose, her.
Right. Hold on. Right.
I don't want to assume. Right.
This is just about effect and to reiterate.
No, but Novia, you just mentioned Applaud It with the young people. These are students in school. And if you haven't spent much time just experiencing Applaud It, it's something I'd encourage you to just look back at previous editions of it. I've taken part in it through all the companies I've worked with. I've been very passionate. And what it is about is a platform for young people to sit at the table. They get a space at the table with executives from all the top organizations in Jamaica. And I met a young man about a couple weeks ago, a little before COVID. And again, I was in the supermarket and I pay attention to people in the supermarket. I'm like, hey. And he said, Miss, you don't remember me, And I said, remind me. And he was at one of the Applaud It. And he said that day, he's at University of the West Indies now because he was in high school at the time. And he said to himself when he walked into that boardroom, I was meant for this place. I was meant for a seat at this table. And he said, I work hard. I remember what he said, that you don't just arrive in this place, you gotta work hard. Let me tell you, big fat tears are rolling down my eyes. And I say, whenever we're doing things, if we even impact one person, because
Absolutely.
that he's going to be an executive one
Absolutely.
day, and he's going to send the elevator back down. So a lot of these initiatives, this is making a significant impact on the next generation. So I mean, I was so moved by this. Again, NMW, you just do the thing and you move on. But lives are being touched. And when you think that we are where we are at because somebody gave us an opportunity, somebody sent the elevator back down, because but for the grace of God, there goes I.
But that would even be the same with the Observer Table Talk Food Awards and the scholarships that they award to students of hospitality and tourism management at the University of Technology. So I mean, a lot of times people are fussing over the ticket price and all these things, but they're not thinking about the opportunities that are also being created behind the scenes for the volunteers, and then for those that actually are awarded these scholarships. So I mean, we have to be grateful and thankful for that.
The reason why, Naomi, is the students at UTech benefit from the scholarships is because obviously I taught at UTech. I was there at UTech, so I fully understood the importance of the scholarships. I also fully understood that the need. In fact, what's happening right now, I mean, we're not going to have the food awards this year for obvious reasons, but which is good, because it has given us pause to reflect on what else needs to be done at the University of Technology, because the modules certainly have to change now, right? As Rochelle would say, they have to pivot, because you now have to teach students virtual cooking and all of that. It's a different world now. So it's even more, the scholarships are even more needed. And as you know, don't forget, 6 students come in the room, or 8 or 10. What you going to do? Turn 2 back? You can't turn 2 back, because they're going to have to go home and tell somebody that they failed. So you have to kind of carve out yet another scholarship or half a bursary or something, so that everybody gets. And that's exactly why. And truth be told, what price do you pay for excellence? Again, I just dismiss when people talk about the cost of the food awards ticket, which is $25,000 for an excellent night out where you have the best and everything, right? You have access to everybody. For the students participate, they actually earn credits towards their module now, right? So they're actually paid as well. It's not free. It's not free labor. They're actually paid. They have scholarships. The scholarship recipients do come out as well, and they get credit towards their module. And guess what? They will tell you as well. They make sure they meet all the famous people there, take their picture, and say to them, "I'm going to send you my resume next week." Yes. So it works out beautifully. It's a great network opportunity for them, and it's fabulous to know that you've been part of the journey for 22 years. Right? It was also very humbling to get an order of distinction from the government of Jamaica, right? For what people say is frou. So it's all good.
So I think it's excellent that you made that point, because I think that's what people don't understand is when they look at things like page 2 or all the entities, the properties that you've created, they don't realize that you actually think about economic impact. I remember when you called me and you said to me, "I'm doing a feature on handbags," and people need the focus of the feature was not on the brand name handbags, but it was on the value of the handbag and how it stimulates the economy, and how having a particular handbag is actually more valuable than even some of the stocks that we have, right? Because if you buy the right handbag, you're owning basically a piece of the company, because the longevity of that bag basically lasts a lifetime. And people don't understand that you actually focus on the economic impact that it is stimulating. You have created the fashion industry. You have helped to create the food industry. Gastronomy in Jamaica was created by you. fashion and making local designers cool and hip and stylish was you. And all of those things stimulate the economy. You know, Gina made a comment about Salou being one of the most brilliant initiatives that she's ever been to, right? And wine was not something that I ever drank. I never drank alcohol, period.
How much wine have you had during COVID, Catherine?
Anyway, so the point is, the question that I want to ask is, when we look at our economy now, we look at Jamaica now, we look at it in January and we look at it in March and we look at it now. How has COVID impacted us and where do we go from here?
Well, we've started a series of webinars. In fact, yesterday we started food, looking at food and looking at, but crisis never waste an opportunity. Yesterday we looked at, fashion. We're going to have, conversations about the future of brick and mortar. We're going to look at the beauty industry. COVID is a good thing. Any opportunity to pause is a good thing. You just have to reinvent. You have to look at it. We've got to strategize. What it has shown actually is a gaping hole in strategy. We never ever planned what yours thought that, you read about 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty. What you thought, that it would never reach us, right? So we all have to pivot. If we're fortunate enough to be getting a salary, you say amen. But we've all got to. It will, however, I am convinced that if we work it right and to our advantage, especially in terms of lifestyle, that we can actually allow the rest of the world to look at us in a different way. I say to people, page 2 is a veritable zeitgeist. 100 years from now, people will understand how we ate, how we styled, where we went, how we looked. They'll understand that just by dint of page 2. It's a record of who we are, right? So if we play our cards right, we can actually, to use your words, emerge with a smile. But again, let me say it, we've got to get in the room. All these boring committees with the same tired people, no fresh ideas, same old. Let me just say it. So you've got to get fresh thinking. You've seen what our restaurateurs have had to do. They've had to switch gears immediately. If that, they've had to switch gears. Our designers are now pushing out masks.
Yeah.
Right? We've got to do just that. The Styler Wars will be back and everybody will be on the red carpet with their haute couture from a local designer. A Caribbean designer, right? We've got to be very careful. We've got to be strategic. We've got to look at what the rest of the world is doing to see where we can seek the advantage. People will be traveling for health. Obviously, they've got to come to the Caribbean. We've always had the best foods, healthy food, right? So that's what people will be looking for. People will care about what they're wearing. So what's the story behind the brand? We'll go back to the basics, I hope, where everybody has a seamstress and we're able to help that seamstress to become part of our style journey. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us as a nation, for us as a people to rise. And when I say rise properly. And to lift. Rise and lift.
Rise and lift. That is
yes. We could spend all night with you, and we know that you really, because you have suffered a loss of part of your work family today. So we are so grateful that you still took the time, and that's one thing. When you make a commitment, if you say, I am coming, you're going to be there, and you're also going to be on time. We are very grateful for all the support for Emerge. I think you have been just about every conference.
Yes.
You've been there from 1 o'clock straight through to the end. and you have supported us and supported all of these various initiatives from all of your family sisterhood that you created, and we're grateful for that. Just to remind people of some of the words of wisdom that we got. So Catherine actually started out the words, the wit, and the wardrobe, and you could see that for yourself today. All Catherine did the team today. One of the things that was really impactful is that you mentioned a lot of people who have caused you to have a platform or supported you along the way. And it's something you always remind us to remember where you're coming from,
Yes.
and who has helped you on the way, and do the same thing by sending that elevator back down. You said something that's funny. You said this is Saturday, because I always see, black hair, so we're always doing our hair or black hair done. And on a Saturday, I know you go to the supermarket, but you always remind that after the event that we've had a grand old time,
You go back to
the
work.
words have to be appended to that photo in a strategic way too, so that your sponsors are acknowledged,
Yes.
because sponsorship is important. And I think sometimes people forget the hard work that goes behind what people see. We don't just arrive.
Right.
There's no glamour.
And to arrive in a room, to sit at that table, it meant that you had support. Somebody saw talent in you. Somebody took time out of their shopping in the supermarket to say, let me hear from you, because they remember, but for the grace of God, there goes I. They gave you a platform that you can now be at that table, and you have to ask yourself, who have I admitted to the table?
Yes.
Who did I send that elevator back down to? And also, who did I stand by and wait until for them to come up? They said, come in at it. This is how you do. This is how you do a presentation. This is how you arrive in the room. So we really want to just thank you for what is a master class.
Yes.
A master class in walking in your purpose and your passion, and not being afraid to own and take up your space.
Yes.
Occupied. So NMW, we thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you very much.
Novia.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. Bye.
Wow.
Wow, guys. That was really awesome.
I have 3 pages of notes.
Yeah. And it's always important, for our emergers, we will be having more emerging conversations as master classes, because we also recognize that what has helped us in our own coping mechanism through COVID is going back to the mentors and actually stopping for a bit to listen and pay attention. And some of the things you remember, but you're not doing, and you're like, though, that's part of the missing piece for me. So all of these things come together, and it always is, I tell you, but for the grace of God, there goes I, is something that I hold very dear, because every time that I feel that I am moving in a space that I start to forget myself, and that my mother don't make that happen. So I don't allow it to happen, because I always remember that a part of the duty you have in walking with your purpose is extending that hand. So a lot of people see Novia and they think, and you create a persona in your head of a person, and it's good to be able to stop and actually get to know the person a little bit, so that we debunk some of the myths that we create about them. So that was a master class. Jillian Ferguson, we see you. Deborah Taylor, we see you.
Kamora, we see you. Kim, Cathy. I don't know if Janice is still here.
Janice is probably picking out her COVID birthday dress, because tomorrow is pre-COVID.
So we have some exciting things happening, right? We have Mother's Day coming up this weekend. And we've actually been having a conversation. So I'm not a mom. Well, I'm not a mom that I gave birth, children that I gave birth to. But Rushy is a new mom. It's her first Mother's Day. And now is a veteran mommy.
My 14th Mother's Day. Wow.
Wait, what you say?
14. Janet just turned 14 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Yes, Catherine, yes. I have a full-grown
So we want to acknowledge our mommy.
grandchild.
I will want to say big up because we know that you have been mommy, teacher, boss, head cook, buckle washer, everything all in one, especially for the last however many months, because it feels like a lifetime, as well as a lifetime, because this is something that you've done full time, you know. And my mommy, Miss Marcy, I mean, Auntie Cole, we love you and we're so grateful for you, and we wouldn't be who we are if it wasn't for you. I mean, you look at Rochelle and she's a replica of her mother.
She is her mother.
Everything that is straight from Marcy. I hear that is the same is true for me.
Thanks.
And I actually think same is true for I.
Yeah. Well, you know, Kat, somebody just put I hope I pronounce his name correctly, or her name, Ijira said not yet Cathy. And I'm so glad you said that. Because not to give away the age bracket, but my birthing process has a name, so I would have been called a geriatric previa, a prehistoric monster, apparently. So in fact, when I was supposed to have but we did apparently have one egg. And no, one of the things that was very important for me tonight as we acknowledge Mother's Day is one that we acknowledge the extent of what mothers are, because mothers are also the village of mothers, the godmothers, the aunts. I have been both, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the role that I have played in raising children, but also that there are persons who have been trying for several years to have children, and it is something that is a deep desire, and Mother's Day is not easy. So some of us know our friends who are, it is a difficult time, and
or we have friends that have lost mothers.
Exactly.
So it's not a time of celebration for a lot of people.
A lot of
people have lost their kids too.
And have lost their kids. Yeah. So one of the things we would ask too, that you remember during this time, are persons who Mother's Day is difficult, and the COVID isolation makes it that much more difficult. And as we celebrate, to just reach out with a kind word, with a virtual hug, with just that phone call to say, we're up on the Sunday here. Mm-hmm. You may also want to say, you know what? We could have ordered one little package and send and say, big up yourself. Yeah. Big up yourself. I'm here for you. Because a part of the village and the sisterhood and the brotherhood and family that we create is just to remember that as we celebrate, somebody else is not having a celebratory time, but we can celebrate together by us recognizing this and reaching out.
Sending love. No, Nikki, please.
No, Nikki is too much.
Look her. Nikki, I keep telling her, we're preparing her, we're giving her time because she's going to be a guest on Emerge.
For sure.
So our book for this week was Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. My best friend said that when she read her first Brené Brown book, she understood me more because I am her. And I'm like, 100%, she is like everything that I think in my head. So, did you read it? Now you're not allowed to say to me that you never read the book.
Cool. Let me tell you what had happened, right? My copy of the book, I just got it today because it's been in my office that we just moved out of. So it's in one of the moving boxes. But I'm going to read it. Actually, you know that before you guys even suggested it, Janice, I don't know if she's still on. She's the first person that told me about that book. And that's why I bought it like 3 years ago. But I'm going to read it.
So for those of you that don't know who Brené Brown is, she's a sociologist and she focuses a lot on the study of vulnerability and how vulnerability impacts basically every area of our lives. It impacts our leadership ability. It impacts the way that we interact with each other. And so she also has a TED Talk that went viral, has millions and millions of views that speaks exactly to this. And we will, I promised to share it last week and I didn't. So I will share it on our Facebook page so that those of you that haven't seen it, or you can Google it on YouTube, Brené Brown, and I'm sure vulnerability, and I'm sure it will be the first thing that pops up. So Rashi, you want to talk about the book?
Yes. So it's one of my favorite books. She has another book called Dare to Lead.
Dare to Lead, yeah.
One of my favorites, yeah.
And in fact, Janice was actually the person who also introduced me to Brené Brown. And when we were talking about her, the thing that actually struck me is the analogy she creates in the book about the arena. Mm-hmm. That pretty much, you don't get the right to judge me if you ain't been in the arena.
Yeah.
So if you have never had to put yourself out, be vulnerable yourself, fail a couple of times.
Yeah.
One of the quotes that she has in the book is that she says, I carry a small sheet of paper in my wallet that has written on it the names of people whose opinions of me matter. To be on that list, you have to love me for my strengths and struggles. You have to know that I'm trying to be wholehearted, but I still cuss too much. Flip off people under the steering wheel and have both Lawrence Welk and Metallica on my iPod. Now, as you read through this book, this whole concept of vulnerability, and you know, as Jamaican people, like, we don't really love showing about us that we're afraid of nothing because we're a bad man and bad woman.
Yes.
We don't like to show this whole concept of vulnerability. What do you mean vulnerability? People take disadvantage of me.
Yeah.
Not that. It is the whole concept of allowing yourself to actually live the life that you deserve. Yeah. So it means that you have to be in a position where you are willing to come out of the stands, stop people, and get into the arena to actually live your own life. And to get into that arena and actually have to live your life where people are looking at you and your successes as much as your failures, and in fact reminding you of your failures, it takes a lot of vulnerability.
Yes.
And vulnerability in the workplace, vulnerability as parents, vulnerability as siblings, as friends. Mm-hmm. One of the other things that she actually defines vulnerability in this way, and it's one of her more famous quotes. I define vulnerability as uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. With that definition in mind, let's think about love. Waking up every day and loving someone who may or may not love us back, whose safety we can't ensure, who may stay in our lives or may leave without a moment's notice, who may be loyal to the day they die or betray us tomorrow. That's vulnerability.
Amen.
So in everything that we do, in the relationships that we are and the relationships, whether your relationship with your spouse or your relationship with your friends, our ability to open ourselves up to what could possibly be betrayal or to amazing love. To days where you're not getting along, because even with your sister in them, some days you don't get along as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But that you are willing to still step into the arena of that friendship. And I think that is it's so profound. The whole concept of the man in the arena is actually historical because Roosevelt said, and you know I love quotes. When we had met with Patrick Hilton, he had mentioned that his mother, when he was in basic school, would write quotes and stick in his school bag every day. So he has quotes for days. So Christian has for days. He's gonna tell me that I should WhatsApp it to him or some foolishness like that, but I'm gonna write it on a piece of paper. So Teddy Roosevelt said, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood,
Yeah.
who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly.
And I think we need to close with the quote that she says about raising children.
You want to close with that one, Kat?
Okay. She says, raising children who are hopeful and who have the courage to be vulnerable means stepping back and letting them experience disappointment. Deal with conflict, learn how to assert themselves, and have the opportunity to fail. If we're always following our children in the arena, hushing the critics and assuring the victory, they will never learn and they will never have the ability to dare greatly on their own. So, what is our book for next week? This is a good one. None of you remember. Option B.
Option B by Sheryl Sandberg and Adam Grant. I remembered.
You're awake
Her
now.
first book was Seats at the Table.
She's awake now.
It's not
Right,
nothing.
guys, you know, after a certain time, my brain starts to like.
Nye, there's no book called Seat at the Table.
What is the first book called?
It's called Lean In.
Same thing. It's the same thing. That's really what the book means.
You see, and the problem that I have now is that everybody over here is talking about, oh, me just love Nye, give Nye a lie. Lord, just be understanding, Cathy. You guys don't understand. Every week, this is her response. This is how she
But that was nice vulnerability. So you know, like you have one yarn. Well,
she didn't read the book then.
I've been trying to stifle them. You don't see me like holding in my breath. Guys, after 9 o'clock, my brain just starts to shut down. It's like we've been on for almost 2 hours.
We are so grateful for those of you that stuck around with us for these 2 hours. We appreciate your time, and we know it's extremely valuable. But
yeah. And we get dressed up because coming our Detour Essentials is actually going on. So we feel like we've gone out.
Oh yes, Catherine did our hair. Catherine did our hair, guys.
Yeah.
It's blow dried. Yeah. No flat iron. It was roller sets.
And one of the things too is option B. Don't be like Nye and say that you just got the book the day. She has though. Is a good girl.
I have option B. I actually have the.
She said she's ready to read it.
Yeah, and read the cliff notes if anything. But
efforts. That's all we're asking.
Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read all the books.
So one of the things is that in option B, I think it's a very important COVID book because it actually talks about grief. So she talks about the grief of losing her husband, and what she ties in is that grief, whether it's your husband dead or you've lost your job, you've lost your business, grief is grief. And she actually talks through the process. And many of us, as we're trying to pivot our lives in this time, it is difficult for us to even deal with the fact that we are grieving. So sometimes coming out of bed is difficult, and you wonder why you're seeing people on Instagram who get up at like 4 o'clock and start the exercise, and you're like, I cannot get out of my bed, and you don't even recognize too that you are grieving. Yeah. So I think it is a very important book for us to share and to talk about next week, and we certainly look forward to having a discussion. Nick Mack says that she's with the Golden Girls. Anna says, good vibes. Khaled said 2 hours well spent. Alyssa, time well spent. Anya didn't finish Lean In, but she's going to try.
Try option B.
Anya, we can talk about Lean In.
Let's try it together, Anya.
Janice Williams. Hi, Janice.
And I think we should close with Nye's learn the things that she has learned.
Oh, and Derek. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Derek.
What do you mean exactly?
The things you learn in
time to yourself.
Oh, you wrote those down?
It's okay to ask for help. Change can be good. And Novia reminded us that change is actually a great thing. We need to look for the opportunity in every crisis. Trust God's timing. And you notice Novia said the same thing. And gratitude is important. So you realize that Novia also reiterated basically all of these points.
Mm-hmm.
So,
thank
you for
joining
us.
You know, we have to roast Nye because Nye's 40th is up. Janice and Alicia are celebrating birthdays Friday and Monday. Nye's birthday is on the 15th. Of course, very special. So we're going to be talking about this again next week. But one of the things is that
we can have some bubbles next week.
I was going off to
we need some champagne next week for sure.
Yeah. And I had planned the most amazing vacation
trip. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember, and I'll always remember this, that when I called her to say, Nye, you know, so we're going to Italy, I think you can go to Italy.
Yeah, she never
you know how this vacation was going to be amazing. Yeah. And she says, well, there must be something good coming out of this. Let me pay off my credit card.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
She just.
But what are we doing for the birthday? Remember, we have something exciting. The day.
Yeah.
So can we
adrenaline rush?
So we can talk. Let's save some stuff for next Wednesday, no?
Oh yeah, okay.
That means you guys gotta tune in next Wednesday and hear what's in store.
Same time, same place.
Hi, Simone. Simone says good solid nuggets. Simone is like one of our sister in that. You know, it's kind of like, and like, guys, next week we should have drinks with Nye. So everybody have their drinks.
Everybody.
So we're gonna send some over to you.
And can we get some jamosas as well?
Oh, Sima.
Can we have some jamosas for the pre-birthday celebration? Asking for a friend. Asking for 3 friends.
And then Deb will send over the bubbly for us.
Debbie.
Oh, Jillian is the 14th. Oh my God. Like May people.
Yeah.
Jillian's the 14th.
That's awesome.
So next week we're gonna have a birthday celebration for all the May.
All the May people need to come online.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Hi, Marcia Richard.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.